Donald Trump has had another bit of very bad legal news coming his way, which is that the Supreme Court has denied his request to block a congressional committee's attempt to obtain his tax returns. Now, if you know the timeline of the tax return debacle, you know that this has been going on for so long. In the 2015-2016 campaign, there were so many moments where he got asked, why aren't you returning or giving up your tax returns, showing the people your tax returns, as is tradition from presidential candidates, at least a certain number of years of your tax returns to show people everything's on the up and up, I'm a good citizen. And he kept saying, I'm under audit, and would repeat that over and over and over. I'm under a routine audit. But then people came out and said, wait, you don't have to keep your tax returns secret when you're under an IRS audit. You could release them still. Nah, he's under an audit. And then the 2020 election came around. Surely he's done with the audit by now. Nope. He kept saying he was under an IRS audit. And then, again, that doesn't prevent him from releasing it, but whatever. And then now we're all the way to 2022. And one of the committees in Congress is looking into his tax returns and needs them, obviously, for that purpose. And the Supreme Court was his last chance to have this be prevented, and they sided against him. So we are finally going to probably get to see these tax returns that he has worked so hard to prevent us from seeing. Take a look at this getting announced on CNN.
Big loss for former President Donald Trump at the hands of the Supreme Court today. He had tried to get the Supreme Court to intervene to block his tax records from going to the Democratic-led House Ways and Means Committee. Former President Trump had lost in lower courts. He had gone up to the Supreme Court saying, of all the requests for documents that had been going on during his presidency and since, this was the worst request, he said in his filing, because it involved his personal tax returns. The Supreme Court today, in just a 2-sentence order, said no. It's denied. There were no recorded dissents, including from any of the Trump-appointed justices or any of the other conservatives on this very conservative court, unanimously, at least on paper, against President Trump. Again, there might have...
Okay, we'll stop it there. Very interesting. And from what I've read, this is his last chance. And it actually will get turned over to the Ways and Means Committee that is Democratic-led in the House of Representatives, and the expectation is someone gonna leak it, and we're gonna get to see it as the public. Here's this on Forbes. Former President Donald Trump's tax returns will be turned over to the House Ways and Means Committee, the Supreme Court ruled Tuesday, thwarting Trump's years-long efforts to shield his tax returns and raising the possibility they could become public as he launches his 2024 presidential campaign. Now, what I've said before on this is, let's be frank, let's be real, let's be honest with ourselves. Whoever is still supporting Trump, will something whack in his tax returns change their opinion? Usually I would say no, especially for the hardcore MAGA people. Maybe some people in the general election, if he got the Republican nomination, would be upset by, number one, he definitely hasn't been paying his taxes. We saw a little report about that from particular years where he paid almost nothing in taxes. But also, he could have very fishy business practices that we'll get to see from that. And I do think that could upset some people. But again, at this point, how could you not already know how low character, how shady a lot of his business dealings were? I don't know, but seems to be the case that people still don't know a lot of that type of stuff about him. But if you're talking about the MAGA people, even something crazy coming out of his tax returns will just be deep state propaganda in their minds. So don't hold out any hope for that. Oh my gosh. For our podcast listeners, Ben the producer. I'm trying to think, do you like Producer Ben or Ben the Producer better as your title?
Producer Ben.
Producer Ben. Producer Ben just gave the most annoyed look at the deep state conspiracy, because the great thing about a deep state conspiracy is it centers around the idea that this cabal is so powerful that it could really control and manipulate anything. So you can never be proven wrong, because any amount of evidence you can say, clearly you don't know how the deep state works. The deep state can fabricate that. So,
It's just so frustrating.
yeah. There it is. He'll have to turn over his tax returns, and hopefully in the near future, I'll get to report on what the heck is going on there. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get access to an extra full show every Saturday that only members can see, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there is a link in the description.